Welcome back, warrior. We're reading Genesis chapter 31 in the Old Testament. It says, the Lord commands Jacob to return to Canaan, and Jacob departs secretly. Laban pursues him, then they resolve their differences and make a covenant of peace. Laban blesses his descendants, and he and Jacob part company. Okay. So, we're already at 1.7 miles. So I'm already kind of tired. Here we go though. And verse 1, and he heard the words of Laban's sons, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. Okay, so we have some instigators in the family. Who can relate there, right? And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Okay, so now we have these adult family problems on the grandpa side, which I am sure everyone can relate to at some point in their lives. Well, hopefully not everybody, but And the Lord said unto, why is it, the whole property thing and anyways. And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock. So these were his first wives, and they used to have wife hierarchy. Anyway, so they were top tier wives. I don't know. And said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the God of my father hath been with me. And ye know that with all my power I have served your father. And it's totally true, right? He was doing everything. And your father hath deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckled. And if he said thus, the ring-straked shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring-straked. Thus God hath taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass, at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring-straked, speckled, and gristled. Gristled? Yeah. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thine eyes, and see all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straked, speckled, and gristled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. Sometimes when for soccer, we play soccer. The kids play soccer. I rarely do. I used to when I was, anyway. The ball sometimes goes a certain direction, and the referees will call certain things. Usually they try to call good things, right? They try to call it as they see it. But there's those times when the refs make mistakes and call things in favor of other teams besides our own. I'm sure your kids can relate. And that's the super frustrating thing. When you've seen something and everyone else has seen something, but the refs are seeing something totally different, and then they call the game or the ball something, and then they're like, well, we're not going to count that goal, or we're not going to count whatever it is that would have and should have counted. Anyway, and so usually after that play, something happens where let's for example say our team made it in, and the ref blew the whistle and was like, no, that doesn't count because it was offsides or whatever. And everybody's like, what? That was not offsides, blah, 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 right? Because everybody saw the thing, but the ref saw something different, or is trying to be on the other team's side, whatever, right? So then they make the play again. And let's say our team makes it in again, right? And then of course, the whole team's cheering so hard and everything. And then usually there's a statement like, ball don't lie. And I kind of love that, because it's you tried to call something that was not true, or you tried to call something and it was not valid, or it was not cool, or it was not the truth, right? Or what actually happened. And then when they go and actually score again, it says ball don't lie, because it's like when you called that, it was wrong and the ball is trying to make it right, right? And obviously it has nothing to do with the actual ball. I think it's God, because, you know, he's trying to make sure that liars don't win or don't prevail, right? And so that's what's going on here, right? And this is like what I see here. And it's like, he says, and the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, here, okay, so the angel. And he said that the cattle, says, I am the God of Bethel. Oh, wait, sorry. And he said, lift up now thine eyes and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring straked, speckled, and gristled, for I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. So the Lord is trying to make right all the things that Laban did wrong to him. And because liars and cheats should not win, right? And do not prosper. And so he is trying to bless him for his righteousness and for his staying true to God, right? For him continuing to choose the right, basically, right? And so then the Lord saying, I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointedst the pillar, and where thou vowedst a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. So the Lord is like, listen, I heard all your prayers, and I'm still the same God that promised you all the things that I promised you, but you've been stuck here, and we got to get you out of here now, because you are stuck and you can't progress. And that is okay, because we're going to leave. And so then it says, Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? And are we not counted of him strangers? For he hath sold us and hath quite devoured also our money. And so I guess Laban was a bit of a spender, And so verse 16, for all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's, now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. So I love these women. They're just like, yeah, you know what? It's true. Our dad is not very responsible with the cash. And yes, he has totally deceived you many a time. And, specifically Rachel is probably like, yeah, so many times. And, if anybody knows about deception from their dad, it's Leah and Rachel. So they're like, let's just go, do what you need to do and we will come with, right? Okay, verse 17. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and wives upon camels. And he carried away all his cattle and all his goods, which he hath gotten, the cattle of his getting, which he had gotten in Paddan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. Okay, so because she was probably like, I need these, right? These are mine. Okay, so and Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. Okay, so I guess he kind of went in the night, right? Or like snuck away. And then, so he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. How did he not know this the day of, right? And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey. And they overtook him in the Mount Gilead. And God came to Laban, the Syrian, in a dream. In a dream by night, and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. Like, don't you dare try and yell at him for anything, because we know what you did, kind of thing, right? And then it's like, then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead. And Laban said unto Jacob, what hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives, taken with the sword? Now he's trying to rage bait now, Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly, and steal away from me, and didst not tell me, that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, and with tabret, and with harp? Yeah, sure. Right? Like, that's totally what he's thinking. Like, okay, you would have done all that for me. And hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. But it's valid, right? Because this guy was super sus and like always such a deceiver and like trying to take advantage, It's like, I'm not working for you another 7 years or whatever you want to make up, So it makes sense. So it is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. No, it's not. But, okay, he says, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad. And now though thou wouldst needs be gone, because thou sore lodgest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods? And Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure, thou wouldst take by force thy daughters from me. So it's valid that he would be like, think that Jacob would be nervous that his daughters would be taken from him, because he was always trying to keep them. He was like, no, 7 years, you got to work for them. No, 7 more years. And, so with whomsoever thou findest thy gods. So he was saying like, listen, you took everything, but you also took some of my idols that I worship. And so I kind of am mad about that. Right? And so he's like, with whomsoever thou findest thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. Whoops. He's like, you can kill whoever you want like that you find that has them, right? And it's like, probably we shouldn't make blanket statements. But like Jacob knew that he hadn't stolen, right? But you have like so many people in your company, how could you even make like that kind of a statement, right? Anyway, for Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them, right? And Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the 2 maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me. So she was on her period. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin, that thou hast so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren, and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thy ewes and thy she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beasts I brought unto thee. I bear the loss of it, and my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for the cattle, and thou hast changed my wages 10 times. So he's just like telling him, like, listen, you have deceived me this many times. Like, it is a good thing and normal, and I should have left you sooner. The fact that I'm leaving is way overdue, right? Like, you have been abusing me this whole time, right? Using and abusing. Anyways, Then he says, except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely thou hast sent me away now empty. God hath seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked thee yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne? Now therefore come thou, let us make covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee. So he's trying to be all like, why would I hurt you? These are all my things. Which is not true. Those are not all his things, right? And Jacob took a stone and set it before a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made an heap, and they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, this heap is witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives besides my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee. And Laban said unto Jacob, behold this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast betwixt me and thee. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I do not pass over this heap to thee, and that thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm. And the God of Abraham, and the God of Nahor, and the God of their father, judge betwixt us. This is where the name Twixt came from. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. How did the name Twixt come about? It's a Christian. Read these books and thought that was a cool name. Anyways. Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat bread and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned unto his place. Yeah, go. He better. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we have a couple quotes that I wanted to read real quick, or maybe just one. Okay. So President Howard W. Hunter used these verses to help teach this important principle. He said, when Jacob was instructed to return to the land of Canaan, which meant leaving all for which he had worked many years, he called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was and explained what the Lord had said. The reply of Rachel was simple and straightforward and indicated of her commitment. Whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do. We have then examples from the scriptures of how we should consider and evaluate the commandments of the Lord. If we choose to react like Joshua and Abraham and Rebekah and Rachel, our response will be simply go and do the thing that the Lord has commanded. Well, add Nephi to that. Whew. There is good reason to make our decision now to serve the Lord. We should decide now in the light of the morning how we will act when the darkness of the night and when the storms of temptation arrive. I pray that we will have the strength to decide now to do what we ought to do. I pray that we will decide now to serve the Lord. End quote. Also, oh, you can't see. We're watching Olaf also. Okay, President Howard W. Hunter, Commitment to God, October 1982, General Conference. Okay, and then one second. I think we're already at verse. Okay, the covenant between Jacob and Laban. So Laban would not accept Jacob's rebuke. Why would he ever want to harm Jacob, is what he thinks, or is what he says, right? But then Laban proposed that they should make a covenant or a promise together that they would not harm one another, which is so good because, you know, we don't need to be haters. And I'm guessing Laban totally realized that Jacob was in the right and that God had come to him in a dream, right? So he was not looking to upset God. So then Josephus called this pillar an altar, which is likely since then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount. So finally Jacob was free to leave, but he still had one great concern. What will Esau do when he returns, right? So we will find out. Okay, so that is the end of Genesis chapter 31. We're going to read our Read It, Live It. And it is, and the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee. So Jacob didn't know what waited for him back home, right? Only that God would go with him. Sometimes obedience means stepping into the unknown. Go where he leads. And since we're watching Frozen, we can all cue the song Into the Unknown and end with that because it's so true. We literally step into the unknown, but we go there with faith in Jesus Christ, that he will be with us no matter where we are. So until Genesis chapter 32, stay strong, warrior.